Also to be able to do is hop on here with Graphk Raider and talk. That's one of my bros. So Graph, if you see this, if you could, just kind of request to join in. And basically the way that him and I are going to do this is it's going to be pretty simple. We're simply just going to answer questions from y'all. You guys can just go ahead and ask away, and we'll be happy, to address any questions that you have. I also see that Instagram has this new feature, at least for me, where if you guys want to send in a badge, it's literally the exact same thing as a super chat, and then, that'll be the easiest way for me to decipher who's going to come in and whatnot. So if you guys want to come on in, please go ahead and let me know. Once Graph requests to join, then, we'll get this thing started. But until then, if you guys have any questions, just please go ahead and we'll get the party started. So Butta says, Mitch and Dokes, what's going on, dude? Appreciate you watching. Opinions on our preseason games this year. I'm hoping that I can go to Raiders versus 49ers. That's the game that I'd really like to be able to go to personally. I've been talking to some people out in the West Coast, maybe do a watch party. So I see Graph is waving at me. There we go. Got him. He's about to join on in here. If you guys don't already know, Graph is one of my homies. Live really close to him down here in Dallas. Met him through a lot of different resources in Dallas. What's up, Graph? How you doing, brother?
What's up, my brother? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Hurting a little bit. I was at a bachelor party this past weekend, and I've been hella sick. So no drinking for me. I got my orange juice. That's about it.
That's good. I seen you out there. Was you at Nashville, right?
Yeah, Nashville for 2 bachelor parties. It was unbelievable. If nobody's ever been to Nashville, you got to go. If you're single, you'd have so much more fun. But either way, you're going to enjoy yourself. Literally, bachelor parties, bachelorette parties every 2 minutes going down the street. It's wild.
Been out there twice for the Raiders and Titans game, so I love that.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was partying with literally it was me and 16 other Chiefs fans. It was wild.
Oh, those are your guys, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were crazy. We were on a party bus and they started playing this Red Sea song, and I hope they freaking see this video. And I am just screaming Raiders at the top of my lungs. That's probably why I don't have a freaking voice. I didn't pull a Graph and flick off Nissan Stadium, but that's your thing. But I definitely thought about it.
It's all love, brother. It's all love. And we all need a break from alcohol, man. I'm like 5 days chill for a little bit too, man. So, but yeah. So how you been though, brother? What's going on with you, man?
I'm chilling. I'm ready for the off season. I'm excited. In a few weeks, I'm going to be heading out to Vegas. Also, shout out to RCWC 1987. Appreciate the badge. I'm giving out shout outs to people on the Raiders Report if you send in a badge. So please go ahead and do that. But I'm heading out to Las Vegas July 14th to the 19th. I asked my mom, I'm like, Mom, I'm not going to buy anything for Mother's Day. I want to spend time with you. So let's take a trip somewhere. I want to do something with you for Mother's Day. And she's like, well, why don't we go to Vegas? I'm like, shit, say no more. So I got my mom a trip to Vegas. So I'm going to hang out with my aunt. And we're literally just going to ball it up for 4 or 5 days. And July 17th, going to get to take my tour. So I can't wait.
That's so, hey, man, pictures, videos, all, bro, please.
Oh, dude, you already know it. I mean, my phone is I'm going to have to buy a portable charger just because I'm just going to be doing live stuff the entire time. What about you? How you been?
Ah, man, bro, just still getting the house together, man, working like crazy. This stuff and work, man, and fatherhood and marriage, it's just a lot, man. I've been ripping and running, man, but God is good, bro. I promise you, man. I'm in good spirits, brother. I re-injured my back again. That sucks. But
because you've been carrying the weight of Raiders YouTube. That's why.
You crazy, my brother. But yeah, man, it's been an interesting past few weeks, man. Been traveling back and forth to Atlanta. Went down to Austin, Houston. Just traveling a little bit, man. Enjoying it, man. You know what I mean? Because I know once this training camp really takes off, it's just we're gonna be all crazy, bro.
Yeah, this is kind of like the downtime of the year. So what I wanted to be able to do is just kind of answer some questions, go back and forth. If y'all see anything crazy in the background, I'm dealing with a puppy, so I can't even imagine what dealing with twins is like. But I see down in the comments section, can you please say happy birthday to me? So Hank is Bank. Happy birthday to you. Everybody wants to go down in the comments and say happy birthday to Hank. If you want to shout out on here and on a future Raiders report, all you got to do is send in a badge. So shout out to RCW1987, Favor Rob, Ugly Cheetah God, and Manny025. Much love to everyone watching right now. So one of the topics I was talking about on my Raiders video that I released today, if y'all haven't seen it, please go ahead and check it out. Raiders Report on YouTube. The 6 biggest losers of the offseason. If you had to guess, I guess I shouldn't say that. Who's your biggest loser? And then I'll give you mine, and I'll tell you why.
6 of them?
No, you just give me one. Your biggest loser of the offseason. If you want to rattle off a few more, please go ahead and do so.
Damn.
Tough question.
Damon Arnett.
Arnett? Yeah. he was my number one guy too. Which I kind of hate saying that because I know, don't get me wrong, I'm really hard on Arnett, but if any Raider fan out there doesn't think that me or anybody else repping the silver and black doesn't want Arnett to succeed, you're absolutely crazy because you obviously want that man to succeed. And he's been working hard. He's been doing his thing. But
Sure.
When I see reports out there that, they've already made him an afterthought, that definitely freaks me out a little bit. So we agree on the whole Damon Arnett thing. What about biggest winner of the offseason?
That's a good one. I'm going to say Abram because just the addition of Trayvon Merrick alone, man, is going to free him up to be able to do what he needs. And Gus Bradley, that's going to be another thing for Jonathan Abram's development. So I think drafting a real free safety back there, man, where Jonathan Abram doesn't have to worry about coverage too much. Ryan Miles and Gus Bradley, they're going to help him so much. Jonathan Abram, man, I think he's one of the biggest winners on our roster this year. For sure.
Yeah, I had him as a winner myself just because I totally agree. Like, I will also say he's one of the players that is on my hot seats list where I honestly think if he can't get it done in a Gus Bradley system, I do actually really, really worry if he's ever going to be able to get it done because he's going to play it near the line of scrimmage, be that box safety, and if he can be that guy that can lay the wood and use the hit stick, but he also needs to smarten up a little bit. But he's also said that he's trying to ease it up a little bit, which is something that I like to see out of Abram because – the guy that we saw as a rookie and even this past season, I don't think he would have said those things. To be honest, the reason this might be a little controversial to some people, I'm actually going to go with Ruggs. And the reason why I like Ruggs is because you see a lot of people just saying the right things about him. Like, Derek Carr, I don't know if you saw this quote. It was like, Henry Ruggs is the greatest player I have ever practiced with. So that to me was like, all right, that's pretty cool. Not only that, all the coaches the entire time were like, we want Ruggs to be the number one. Like, we got John Brown, we got Brian Edwards, we have all these options. But I actually honestly believe that they are going to do whatever they can to try to get him more involved. And the fact that people that I talk to have been saying, like, hey, he's been working on his route running, he's put on some good weight and kept the speed. Because there's a difference between putting on weight and then losing some speed. Like, some people are like, oh, Mitch, 4.27 to 4.35, not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about these freak athletes, sometimes it does come down to something like that. But I'm going to go with Henry Ruggs. So that was my biggest winner.
Foster is a winner as well, man. I don't want to keep going on it, but just with old man Witten being gone, him taking a year pretty much getting healthier, I think Foster's going to ball out this year, man. Like, for real.
It depends. What do you consider ball out? Like, be a legit red zone threat? 100% on board with you.
Yes, that's what I mean. I even had him. I had 6 bold predictions, and I had him being second behind Waller. And this is a bold prediction with touchdowns, with TD, because I think he's really going to be a red zone threat this year, for sure.
I mean, it's bold to say that, but I don't think it's a bad prediction by any means. I mean, as a rookie, he had 7 red zone targets, 5 touchdowns, and even last year, like, his 47-yard or 44-yard touchdown down the middle of the field. I mean, if Witt would have tried to do that, he'd still be running.
That's real.
So I got a few more badges. I want to give some shout-outs here to some people. R. Perez, 81. Again, appreciate the badge, man. I don't know if you have this ability yet on IG, but they've at least given it to me, so I'm going to try to take advantage of it, where you can basically send in a badge. It's like a super chat, give a shout-out, and if you send in one, I'll give you guys some love on the next Raiders Report on Tuesday. So how about this? If you guys want to just start flowing in some questions, I believe I can tap this, but what I don't want to do is block you. Okay, so the one question that I just got is, how do you feel about Matt Bushman? Matt Bushman is the UDFA out of BYU. You were just talking about Foster Moreau. What do you think about Bushman? And then I'll put in my 2 cents.
I think, personally, I think he made tight end 3. I think he can take Derek Carrier's job. Won't we save, what is it, $1.2 million? What is Carrier's salary this year? Do you know?
So technically you would save about 1.2 if you were to stick with Bushman.
instead of having Carrier on the roster. But
That's what I mean. And to be honest, Bushman can do it, man.
Yeah.
Look, everybody said that, if Zach Wilson was there, the year, if he was here to play with Zach Wilson, he would have had a career year if he wasn't injured. And I went back and watched this guy's film, bro. He's a beast, bro. He's a beast.
Yeah.
And
he's a good player.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that he can beat Carrier out for tight end 3.
So Art Perez 81, who sent in a badge, he said that he thinks that Bushman can take Carrier's spot. And when I did my 53-man projection video, it's probably about like a month ago at this point, I'm in agreement with you. I had Waller, Moreau, and then I had as the tight end 3, Bushman, where in 2017, 2018, 2019 led BYU in receiving yards. And some people are like, all right, whatever. But, I mean, for a tight end to lead it in 3 years in a row, I do think that's pretty impressive. 2020 takes a year off. And then I believe I don't know if it was due to injury or due to COVID, but I know he did not play in 2020 where Zach Wilson absolutely goes off. And if you do watch the guy's tape, he's a good receiver. I just think the reason why he didn't get drafted is because he's 25 years old as a rookie, about to be 26. But, I mean, the old saying, dollar bills talk or money talks. He had the 8th highest guaranteed dollars amongst all UDFAs in the entire league, $125K. I mean, if you want a guy, easiest way to show him is to start throwing some dollar bills. So I'm with you on Matt Bushman.
I'm with it. I would literally replace Derek Carrier right now in a heartbeat, bro, with Bushman. I like him. I really do.
All right, so we got another question coming in here. It says, do you think that Trey Regis can make the roster over Jalen Richard?
The thing with this is it's tricky because if you look at Jalen right now, $3.5 million is back on the books. I just did a video on this the other day. I would love to have Trey Regis. It's basically like this. You have a backup to Josh Jacobs. You have another bruiser, and then you have Kenyon Drake that can be that all-around guy. I love Jalen's blocking ability. I really do. I think that and he's a great third down option, but you cannot pay a third running back that kind of money, man. I hope that Regis balls out in training camp and he beats out Jalen Richard. I want to get for a defender, man. I really would want to put that money towards the defense.
No, I'm 100% on board. Now, if the Raiders want to keep Richard this offseason and try to trade him, because the difference is if you cut Richard, you still actually have to eat like $1.2 or $3 million of his contract. So technically then, you only save 2.3. Where if you trade him, you can get 3.5. Do I think anybody's going to trade for Jalen Richard? Unfortunately, no, I do not. But I like the whole Regis idea where he's a powerful running back. It is something that I do think the Raiders definitely could need. And if you're spending all this money on Kenyon Drake, I would like to save a little bit more at the running back position. In terms of Richard, the other thing that he gives some ability for is special teams, where if he needs to be able to return some punts or some kicks here and there. There was a pretty interesting quote from John Gruden right after one of the minicamp practices where he couldn't stop talking about DJ Turner, and he's another UDFA at Pitt, and all he kept talking about is like, hey, he's got good spark, he's a good special teamer, he's a good special teamer. So if the only thing keeping Richard on this team is his special teams ability, honestly, one of a sneaky pick, like one chuck he had for Turner being able to make the roster.
The thing with Jalen, man, I'm nervous every time he goes out there and returns punts and stuff, too. He muffs the ball a lot.
I'm with you. I mean, Renfro might be vanilla ice cream, or he might be like something simple, but he is super safe. And shit, he should have had a touchdown last year, but it was some like bullshit call that ended up getting a call back.
And Regis can potentially help our red zone woes too. We had 10 TDs last year as a Raging Cajun. Like that's a lot, man. Like if you can give Jacob a little bit more breaks, a little more time to sit on that, man, like I'm all for it, man. 17 games. Jacobs has already been hurt his first 2 years in this league. Look, we know Theo Riddick's going to be a camp body. I don't see him roster at all. I really hope that Regis beats him out, man. Baby beast mode. I'm all for it, man. I know it's a little too much, but
see, every running back that's a little bit thick in the hips is baby beast. Like there was Chris Warren, he was baby beast mode. Like, sooner or later somebody's just going to be feast mode or like Eddie Lacy. But all right, if you guys have a question for Graphk or I, there's an ability where you guys can throw questions down below. Somebody just sent in a whole bunch and they're literally the exact same one. So I'm going to go to this one because I saw it and I liked it. So I don't know if you saw the latest report out there from Vic Tafur where it was like Nevin Lawson right now has the edge in terms of being the starting slot cornerback. Number 2 is Nate Hobbs. Number 3 is Amik Robertson. When I say that to you, what are your initial reactions?
Well, first of all, when you got someone that's going to, like Nevin Lawson, that's going to miss the first 2 games of the season, I think that if you have a Nate Hobbs, which I think Nate Hobbs will beat out Amik because Nate Hobbs is a Gus Bradley's guy. He's a Gus Bradley guy. I mean, he drafted him. Amik comes from a previous regime or coaching staff.
Yeah.
Man, Nevin Lawson, that's nerve-wracking, bro, to think that he would even start in this league, bro. Like, it makes I've never seen someone take steroids and get worse. Like it's like
Twice.
for real, man. Like, I'd rather roll the dice with Amik or Nate Hobbs. I mean, personally, I think Bleedy may even win the starting nickel spot if Damon Arnett doesn't. I'm shocked that Damon Arnett hasn't got any reps there yet at minicamp. You know, I mean, I know the pads and really training camp technically hasn't started yet. I hope Damon Arnett can win that battle, but
I mean, I also think it is extremely glaring that the Raiders would be willing to roll out Nevin Lawson as a slot corner instead of Damon Arnett. Sorry, y'all. Chuck's just kicking my screen. But if I'm the Raiders, and, like, I get the idea that they probably don't want to go out and sign a free agent, but the fact that there's still guys out there like Brian Poole as a slot corner, Steven Nelson, I think, is asking for a little bit too much. That's why he's still out there. But, I mean, there are other nickel corners that I would much rather have on the field than Lawson. Like, you can't give me an argument to keep this guy. Not only, I mean, the money I don't really care about, but suspended the first 2 games. And if you're going to be this, I'll say, if you're going to be Gruden, where you're going to predicate doing the right things, being a leader on and off the field, how can you look at me and tell me that Nevin Lawson, who's gotten busted twice for PEDs, is doing the right things? Like, if he was an all-pro player, even if he was an average player, I'd be fine with it. If anybody in here thinks that Nevin Lawson's average, I'm sorry, you don't watch a lot of games.
I think they're trying to boost up his so-called trade
Value.
No one's going to trade for Nevin Lawson, but
yeah,
they're trying to hype him up because they know. I mean, look, at the end of the day, you got someone that's going to miss the first 2 games of the season, man. Like, you don't want a guy like – it's too much for a bad player, man. And I did a video today about Brian Poole. I would love to bring him in. He would literally, if he's healthy, can start the nickel spot from day.
Dude, in a heartbeat.
Yeah, he's one of the best slot corners in the league when healthy. I mean, and he'd probably be a cheap option at this point because
all the guys are.
Yeah, so
all the guys are signing 1-year contracts because they want to make a lot of money next year, and
and
why not go ahead and do it?
He's still somewhat young. I mean, I would go out and try to get Brian Poole in a heartbeat, but if not, man, I think that Nate Hobbs, and I'm still a little nervous because if you watch a lot of his film, man, it's either really great or really bad.
Yeah.
And there's no really in between with him.
No, I mean, I had a 7th round grade on Nate Hobbs, but coming out of the draft, I also said, like, he's got all the athletic ability in the world because he is a very good athlete.
Yes.
But his technique at times definitely shows up on tape where he can't hang with certain guys. And if you struggle hanging with guys in the Big Ten and, you know, in college, obviously sometimes it's harder. Now, sometimes, you know, guys can grow into their body a little bit more. They get a little bit more athletic. You get better coaching. Like, you know, all that stuff can happen. But still, if I'm talking about Amik Robertson and he's not as good as Nate Hobbs or Nevin Lawson, and then I got to rely on either Nate Hobbs or like, it's just these are situations that I don't really want to be in.
I'm really shocked that it's been really quiet on the Bleedy front. I think that Bleedy may snatch up that spot too, man. He had a really great year. Oh, I'm not going to say great. He had a really good year for Atlanta last year. I believe he led them in interceptions as well. I mean,
Bleedy, I think he had 3, but he still only played like part of the time. I just don't know how he's going to – I don't know if he's going to make the roster. Another sneaky guy I think that could make the roster is Roderick Teamer in terms of being like a good special team safety. Kind of the role that Dale Levitt's been playing on the Raiders for the last like 2 years could definitely be the role that I think Roderick Teamer ends up beating him out for.
Real quick, where do you think Rasul Douglas falls? Like, do you think he's going to back Hayward on the other side? Or like, what do you think? Because I like Rasul Douglas's game. He's still at 25. He's
young.
Fits the youth movement. I mean, I like him, but he's not going to start. We know that. I mean,
to be honest with y'all, like when I saw the Raiders get Douglas, I was really excited because it's kind of hard to find a guy who's only 25 years old, who's got 4 years of experience. He's played actually in already 6 playoff games, and maybe that's not that big of a deal, but I want some guys on our team that actually have some sort of playoff experience, knows what it takes to win. He's got a ring. He won a ring back in 2017 with the Eagles. When he had good coaching, I'll say, he had 5 interceptions his first 2 seasons in Philly. Then Philly totally fell apart in 2019. went to Carolina. Their defense had 11 new defensive players. Like, that's the entire roster, essentially. And then he struggled the last 2 seasons. And I shouldn't even say struggled. He still probably would have been one of the better cornerbacks on our team. Now, if I was the Raiders, I actually probably throw Rasul Douglas potentially out there on the left outside corner position, let Mullen go on the other, and then throw Casey inside. One thing that I'm a little bit confused about is
rotation. That sounds interesting though.
But even if we want to talk about Arnett, you want to talk about all these outside problems. If inside cornerback is an issue, I would like to think that Hayward, if he needed to move on the inside, maybe those first 2 weeks he could do it, and then maybe Damon does go to the outside. But I like Rasul Douglas. When Rasul Douglas signed, I was like, he's better than Arnett. He's our third best cornerback, and actually at the time, our second best cornerback. But I was like, I think he has a chance to start. And honestly, I haven't heard anything about him. So I don't know if that's good or bad.
Went and got him, reunited him with Carl Joseph. We went and got Quentin Jefferson, reunited him with Yannick. I like the dynamic of this defense, man. These guys are getting excited. Did you see what Yannick and Quentin Jefferson, like they seen each other. They were like 10 years of friendship. They're excited to play. Like I just like what we're doing on the defensive side of the ball. I know it's going to take some time, to gel, but I think Gus is already he's already righting the ship in the right way, man.
Yeah. I got a question coming in here from Manny_Romero. If never mind, that's the wrong question. My bad. King_Godzilla. Any word of David DeCastro, the offensive line for the Raiders? So David DeCastro just got released by the Pittsburgh Steelers yesterday. Steelers saved like $8.75 million. He's a 2-time All-Pro, 6-time, I believe, two-time All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler. Really good guard, but I think he's about to have his third ankle surgery. He might retire. Probably going to retire.
I mean, look, if you replace Trey Turner, and I know some people like him. I'm not that big of a fan of him. I'm going to be honest. But DeCastro, that ankle injuries and being that big, it's very hard to come back from that. I know that right now he's getting it evaluated, but to be honest, I would not be shocked if he never played another snap, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a great career, man. At the end of the day, I know it was only 9 seasons, I believe, but I mean, look, that's a long career. In the
I mean, growing up in Pennsylvania, I mean, I remember, college and a lot of my buddies, like they love. And the Steelers just always predicated themselves on having a tough offensive line.
Sure.
And he was absolutely a stud. But if I was a Steelers fan, I'd definitely be hella nervous because that offensive line right now is a major liability. I believe they lost 4 out of their 5 starters, and their 5th starter is coming back off like a surgery. So
we were talking about last night, Najee Harris guy over the
I mean, Najee Harris is going to be a popular name in fantasy football. If any of y'all know, I love fantasy, and he's going to be a running back that I stay away from, just simply because that offensive line scares the hell out of me, and I don't really trust Ben Roethlisberger to throw it longer than 20 yards. So, not a good situation.
Yeah.
So, if you guys send in a badge, I'll make sure that I answer your question. So, I see RCWC 1987. Thoughts on Malcolm Kuntz this season?
Look, I'm a huge Malcolm Kuntz guy. I literally had him on every one of my – I had him as somewhere in the 5th to 7th round. I'm going to be honest, though. I thought because the smaller school, Buffalo, he needs to put on some muscle. I'm going to learn literally behind his comp, and that's what's great. You're learning behind Yannick. Everyone says he has that Yannick kind of game. Look, I don't expect too much from Malcolm this year.
Yep.
I don't want to see him too much. I want to see Yannick smoke shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see Yannick really get 12 to 13, maybe 14 sacks this season. I truly believe he can do that. But Malcolm Kuntz is going to be a great look, man. The guy's bendy. He's shifty. I mean, he can do it all, man. It's going to take some time, though. And I don't want to throw him out there. I was shocked, though, that we went and got him in the 3rd round. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised as well. I'm not going to lie. We had him as a 4th round grade at Chat Sports, but if the Raiders have proved one thing. If there's a guy that they like and they feel like that they're going to go get him, they're just going to go get him. But I actually agree. When I saw some comps out there as well, and I don't know, I've been trying to pronounce Gakwe's name. So he on his interview said it's Unique Gakwe. So I've been trying to do that whole thing. But I saw the whole, comp to him and my guy Tom, who you guys know that I like Tom a lot in terms of NFL draft stuff, where also compared it to, Kuntz. But the one thing that I really do like is that he's going to have an opportunity to learn, but he's not going to be thrown into the fire right away.
Yes.
Like Clee was thrown into the fire right away. Honestly, even they gave Max time, but Max needed to be able to, prove what he needed to do right away. Yeah. Now he has a little bit more depth. You can say what you want about Carl Nassib. He's at least a halfway decent depth player. But if Kuntz can come in and get us like 3 to 4 sacks and play maybe just like 20, 25% of the snaps, and when he's out there, just let that motor run and show that bend a little bit. I mean, that's really how this Raiders team takes that next level. It's not always the star players. It's the guys that can come in and play those 20, 25 snaps a game that give you all they got, and then it can free up things for Max and Unique. So I'm pretty interesting there.
It'll be a big part of that second line that Gus was talking about. Like, how he's is. I think that he'll get some snaps, but just like you said, brother, I don't want him to go out there and do too much, man. Let him learn the game. Let it slow down. You're learning behind you're in the perfect situation. Malcolm Kuntz literally went to the perfect situation. But let me ask you this though: what if we do go get a Melvin Ingram? What do you think? What do you think happens? Because that Leo position right there is kind of full right there. You know what I mean? You got Malcolm. You got Kuntz. You got. Yannick. You got bro. That'd be crazy. Ingram. That would be a tough road.
If Ingram is healthy, I'd take him in a heartbeat, right? Yes. The issue is, 10 tackles, no sacks, 7 games last year. He's already visited with the Chiefs, the Dolphins. They weren't interested.
Yes.
The fact that he is still out there makes me think that he's going to be looking for a little bit more, money. However, like some of these contracts that are coming across, like, even for the top offensive tackle, literally today, Morgan Moses, 1 year, $3.6 million. Like, I still probably wouldn't give Ingram $3.6 million, but the fact that Morgan Moses playing a tackle position, considered probably the best tackle on the market, not even really close.
Yes.
He's only making 3.6, makes me think that Melvin Ingram, we could probably get him for like $2 million, but
Sheldon Richardson got 3.6 too.
That's what I mean. So it's just like we can, you can go out and afford these types of players. It's just, is he fully healthy? That I don't know. And in the NFL, I don't really know if you can have too many pass rushers, especially guys that know the AFC West, and especially when you got to pay, Mahomes twice a year. I mean, the more pass rushers you have, I don't really think it's a bad thing.
Sure.
All right, y'all. So I see a few questions in here. Just give me a sec. How about Divine Diablo? All right, I want everyone down in the comment section to weigh in on this one as well. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you're not worried at all, 10 being you're freaking the hell out, how worried are you right now about Divine Diablo?
1. I'm not worried at all. Look, he may have a minor injury. He may be dealing with something behind the scenes. Divine Diablo is going to be a Raider. And even with him, he's another guy. Like, I'm not trying to throw him into the fire. We have another guy that kind of has the same game in Tanner Muse that sat out last year. And I want to see what he can do. I think Divine Diablo is more athletic. Don't get me wrong. I think that Divine Diablo, he'll be a better NFL player, but I'm not worried too much about him, man. I think that he's gonna replace Nicholas Morrow next year. I really do. I think 1 year deal. Look, Divine Diablo fits that mold of today's linebacker. Like Nicholas Morrow is 6 foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just stocky. Put some muscle on this year though.
But, he looks good.
Yeah. He does though, but Divine Diablo, I'm not worried about him at all, man. He will be a Raider. I really do believe that there may be a minor tweak out that he's dealing with, and they're not rushing him. There's no reason to rush him.
Yeah, I wouldn't really be concerned. Like I see down in the comments right now, I see Hank is Bank is 9, King Godzilla 5, SDA says 3, 5 or 6 from Z. I mean, to be honest, I'm probably somewhere around a 5, but it's because my hopes are so high for Divine Diablo. I love Diablo. I love Double D's too. But, my hope for him to be that player that I knew he could be. Like, when the Raiders drafted him out of Virginia Tech, I was like, okay, this kid's good. Like, he can be that next level. I did put him as an off-season loser on my video today simply because we haven't seen him yet. Haven't really heard too many good things about him. The fact that he's the only guy that's left unsigned, the fact that there is an undisclosed injury, and then the thing that really scares me, I'm not saying that Darren Lee is going to play the exact same position Diablo is, because he's not going to.
No.
But Darren Lee is actually a very good sideline-to-sideline linebacker, somebody that's going to be able to fit into his scheme. But when I look at the linebackers, like on our depth chart, and I'm going to name a few off here, and historically, Gus Bradley, the Raiders keep somewhere between 5 or 6, right? Littleton's a lock, Kwiatkowski's a lock, Morrow's a lock, right? And then out of these 4 players, if you can only keep 3, who do you keep? Javen White, Darren Lee, Tanner Muse, Divine Diablo. If you can keep only 3, who are you keeping?
I'm letting go of Darren Lee. Look, I loved him coming out of Ohio State. He's dealt with a lot of injuries. For the past 3 or 4 years, his snap count has went down drastically. I mean, he's been playing more special teams than even linebacker. I love the pickup for depth, and I looked at this as like a reclamation project, kind of like a Solomon Thomas pickup. It's like, let's grab him, see what he can do. He had a big name coming out of college. Let's see what it is. I'm not getting rid of – I love Javen White. I'm very big on Javen White. I know some people may be like, why? I love his game. He's more – he can play the safety position. He can play linebacker. He's kind of a, sideline-to-sideline type guy. Tanner Muse, man, war daddy, special teams. I get it. But he's quick, and he's faster than a lot of people know, man. I want to see what he can really do at the next level playing at linebacker. I know what Darren Lee can do. We already know what he can do. And I'm just – if we see Darren Lee make the team, I'm going to be a little nervous about Divine Diablo. I get a little more nervous because – don't get me wrong, Divine Diablo is going to be a Raider regardless. But But I don't know. Maybe the injury is a little more serious than what we thought. But it's not a holdout, y'all. I'm telling y'all now, Divine Diablo is not holding out. It's got to be a situation where he's dealing with an injury and they're trying to figure out the best way to work around it. He went on IG the other day, posted up the jersey with the 49, said, basically proud to be a Raider. This is only my number temporarily. Look, I'm not too worried about it. I'm not.
I mean, usually, and I hate when people throw out holdout because I think the issue is, again, with rookie contracts, they're basically, they're already like set in stone. Like, if you're drafted in this round at this position, you're going to make X amount of dollars. Usually the holdouts or the wait happens when a player is injured and you're trying to negotiate some sort of a workout contract or an injury clause or something like that. I don't know contracts like the back of my hand, but that's usually what happens. So he's going to be a Raider. They're not worried about that whatsoever. It's just like a situation where we drafted Tanner Muse to play a certain role. Haven't seen it yet. We drafted, personally, I think Divine Diablo to replace Tanner Muse in the future. Haven't seen him yet. And I haven't heard anything about Tanner Muse. So I'm like, all right, we got 2 guys on our roster that we drafted for a certain position in the 3rd round, in the top 100 picks, and I'm sitting here being like, is anybody going to show up? Like, that does concern me a little bit. But the other thing about talking about all these players here is, like, when you really look at our roster this year and you look at the roster last year, it's totally a different turnaround, and it's nice to have these conversations because at the end of the day, if conversations are tough, then that means our defense is getting a lot better, and that's really what it comes down to.
But one thing, if Darren Lee does make the roster, I think that Javen White will be odd man out. He's undrafted. I mean, you there's no way you cut a 2nd-year 3rd rounder or a first-year 3rd rounder. It just doesn't happen. Divine Diablo and Tanner Muse will be on this roster this year. If Darren Lee does make it, maybe Javen White may be the odd man out. But did you see him at camp, bro? He was fast as Javen White was fast as hell.
Oh, he can run.
Oh my God, bro. Like, he has some speed on him, man. And, yeah, that's my guy, man.
All right, well, I expect instead of – what have you been posting on mental health Mondays?
Yes.
So I expect a man crush Monday of Javen White. So that's what I expect. No, but I'm kind of with you. I think, honestly, the only way that we don't have Tanner Muse on our roster is if we trade him for cheap. And there's probably actually a lot of teams out there that would be interested in somebody like Tanner Muse, can play a lot of different types of positions. Actually, I think a team who could use a guy like him is actually the Atlanta Hawks. I just saw Hawks pop up. The Atlanta Falcons. Excuse me. No, I literally I get tweet notifications, and I think Schefter's just posted something like Bucks against the Hawks or something like that. So
you're right, though. I could see Atlanta using like a Tanner Muse like that. He would get some time over there. They're rebuilding that defense. They have a young defense at that. I think Tanner Muse would fit in pretty well over there, to be honest.
All right, y'all. So let's see what kind of questions we got coming in here. I wanted to ask, we've been talking a lot of defense, but that's just technically, the way things are going right now. The offensive side of the football, wide receiver wise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think is going to surprise the most people, and then who do you think is going to disappoint the most people?
I'll only say I don't want to, and I really think that Henry Ruggs is going to have a good year. I'm only going to say
Got my Run Ruggs Run shirt on, so it better happen.
I'm only going to say him right now because
disappointment or surprise?
Disappointment, because
Okay.
I think people are going to expect too much out of him.
Yep.
I have him getting around 850, 900 receiving yards. That's really good. I mean,
that's phenomenal. If he gets that, that's even more than I'd project.
Yeah,
so that's great.
But I'm seeing guys saying even like, he's going to be clear-cut number one. I think that John Brown is going to ball out. I think that's going to be the surprise. I think that he's going to eclipse Nelly's numbers last year. And, I mean, look, statistically, he's an upgrade, over Nelly. I mean, if you want to add Willie Snead into the mix too, we really upgraded the wide receiver position. But, yeah, I think the surprise may be John Brown because not a lot of people knew who he was in Raider Nation. But, for those who really watch everything, John Brown has had, outside of injuries, he's had a pretty good career. But, yeah, I'm going to say Ruggs because I just want to pump the brakes. The expectations are very, very high for him this year because he's a first-rounder, because he has blazing speed. I'm going to say him. And but I think that Ruggs is going to have a good year. I just say disappointment because I see the nation's – it's crazy in the comment section, Mitch. I know you would read the comments and it's Ruggs is going to be a Pro Bowler this year. He's going to be this. And I'm like, okay, it can happen, but pump the brakes a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's where I'm at.
I think from a statistical standpoint, if you look at what Nelly and what John Brown both have done, I agree. John Brown coming into it was a lot better. If any of y'all have time, probably like 5 years ago when I first started writing about fantasy, I did a deep dive into, I used to call them blind comparisons, where if you look at two things, you can look at both players. If y'all get time, I'm not calling John Brown Marvin Harrison by any means because he is not that player, and I'm not even going to call him T.Y. Hilton. But if you look at what T.Y. Hilton and even Marvin Harrison did at their combines, pro days, and all that, from a height, from a weight standpoint, both 5'10", 180 pounds, from a speed, agility, and all that, it is actually extremely similar. John Smokey Brown, his biggest problem has always been staying healthy.
Yep.
And I mean, back in 2019, Brown had over 1,000 yards. So I'm kind of with you there where when they signed him, I mean, I actually think it was one of the best contracts out of all the contracts this offseason because from a talent standpoint alone, I think he's just as good as Nelson Aguilar. And the fact that they got him for so much cheaper, I like that deal a lot. I'll say biggest disappointment, I don't want to say Ruggs simply because I think Ruggs is going to have a chance to really move around the field a lot.
You're going, bro. I know where you're going.
Where am I going?
You're going Bryan Edwards.
I am going to go Bryan Edwards, but it's because I'll also say this. He has the highest ceiling out of any Raiders receiver. If you were to tell me one Raiders receiver at the end of the year has 1,000 yards, I'll put my money on Bryan Edwards every single day of the week, right? However, he's the one guy who just can't stay healthy. And the fact that he can't stay healthy makes me worried again. All right, if we get done with this year, are we going to do the same thing? Kind of like what we did with Tyrell Williams. If he can stay healthy, he's a good receiver. That's my issue with Bryan Edwards. So I'm curious to see what he can do. But my biggest surprise also is John Brown because same thing. I don't really think any Raiders receiver honestly has over 900 yards. I don't know if any Raiders receiver has over 850. But if you were to tell me at the end of the year that Brown's at 800, Ruggs is at 650, Edwards, Renfro, Snead, all these other guys, you can sprinkle them in between 400 to 600. Yeah. That's where we're at. And then you can throw Waller in for 100, give Morrow another 400 or something like that. I mean, you might not have that number one guy, but if you got 5 or 6 guys that are going to catch the ball as much as that, that's tough to defend.
If Snead can get 400, 500 yards with Baltimore, man, he can get 600 with DC for sure. I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, all they do is run the ball over there. So I love that pickup of Willie Snead as well. So this offense is going to, as long as this offensive line can hold up, this offense is going to be spectacular, man.
Snead or Zay Jones, who's going to have a better year?
Snead by a long stretch of imagination, bro. Zay Jones, look, he's a practice warrior, man. This happens every year. He looks great out there at the parks. And he puts the shoulder pads on, and it's just a different. Look, I think Zay Jones throws more touchdowns than he has this year. How about that?
Whew, I'll take that bet. No, I'm kind of with you where the only reason why I pause a little bit is because when Mayock used to do his whole draft thing, he had Zay Jones in his top 5 in terms of receivers coming out of East Carolina. And Jones, I believe, had like 157 grabs his final year at East Carolina, like something insane. The only thing that confuses me a little bit is like Jones was scheduled to make like I forget how much money, and we basically gave him a $1.1 million raise.
Yep.
I mean, I get that maybe 1.1 million isn't a lot in some people's eyes, but for you to basically almost double this man's salary for basically doing nothing makes me believe that either Mayock's got a soft spot for him or Gruden's got a hard spot for him.
I think DC, man, I think that he probably beating the table for him too, because it does seem like Zay Jones is one of the first guys out there with him. And they looks like they have a rapport. It's just it doesn't translate to Sundays, man. And I think this will be the last year you'll see Zay Jones in a Raiders jersey, man. There's no way that you can keep him around, bro. It's just yeah, just Willie for sure.
All right, I'm gonna do one more question, and then I got to take Chuck out for a little walk. So here's my question, and I'm curious where you go with this one. So Derek Carr, right? We got to finish with Carr because we haven't talked about him, and we've been doing this now for about 40 minutes. So Derek Carr, what kind of year is he going to have, and is he going to be the quarterback after 2 years?
I think that he has a great year. I think that 4,300 passing yards, somewhere around there, and that's 17 games. I think he didn't really have too many. But he had 7 turnovers last year. 9? Was it 7?
Well, technically, if you count fumbles.
No fumbles. I mean interceptions. INT.
Okay. 27 touchdowns and what is it? 9 interceptions.
9 interceptions, right? Okay. I think he throws 32, 33 TDs. I think he gets the INTs down to 7, and he limits the fumbles. I think that DC has one of those years, a 2016 kind of year. I really do, because I think he knows this is the year that you have to take it to the next level, man. And he's been hearing this every year, but this is the year where it's like, now we can get you off the books pretty much for nothing. And this is it. This is your year to shine. And I think that now the defense will be at least a top 20 defense, hopefully. Like,
gotta be.
You know what I mean? So if you can just get that, I mean, you can return to 2016 form and you can return to the playoffs, man. So I think DC has a good year. I really do. He may be in early talks in the season, MVP, just like he was in 2016 before he took that bad leg injury. But do I think he's going to be our quarterback in 2 years?
Yeah, so his contract runs up. So he's making 21.2 this year, 19.9 next year. But if they cut him, it takes literally nothing to, it's zero money, dead cap hit. So do you think he's going to be the quarterback? Because I'm curious what type of extension you think he gets, and then I'll weigh in on my side.
Well, I think that, if he does have a great year, say we get a wild card, we make the playoffs, I think he'll get an extension. And I think it'll be humble. Look, he kind of messed up his cards. You know what I'm saying? He said, I want to be a Raider. I will probably retire if I'm not a Raider. Like, you pretty much, all your trade bargaining chips are gone at that point. It's like, you want to be a Raider? Well, take this. And if you want it, stay. I mean, I think he take a hometown discount as well. But if he shits the bed and we have a very bad season this year, and old boy from Oklahoma is there, say we're drafted in the top 3 or something. What's his name? Oklahoma State?
Rattler, but I don't like him. That's the issue.
I'm just saying, man, like at some point, Gruden has to say, I got to go young at some point. I mean, but I don't know, man. Look, I'll say this. I think DC has a year, and he takes a modest extension. He doesn't kill us because he knows that, in order to win, man, you have to have flexibility. And I think that DC does the right thing. I think he'll take the hometown discount. He'll have a good year this year, and he will be our quarterback in 2022, 2023. I do. I think so.
Okay. So I actually put out a video earlier in the week that I think Derek Carr is one of the best dark horse MVP candidates out there, for the simple fact of I believe the odds were like +5. It was like +50. I don't know, plus like 5,000, something kind of crazy. 19th worst odds out there. And my biggest thing was this, like, if Derek Carr goes out and plays, honestly, even just a little bit better than what he did last year, and he's gotten better each and every year underneath Gruden, which in terms of QBR, it was like 45 his first year, 64 his second year, 71.5, which was like top 10 in the league, I believe. So even if he can take that next step and just continue to improve and the offensive weapons can step up, he's going to be good. And I actually kind of agree with you. I'm somewhere around like the 4,300. I had him at like 31 touchdowns, also 7 interceptions in my projections in my video. So like we're on board there. If he can limit the fumbles, it's all good.
Yes.
But you kind of hit it right on the head where if the Raiders make the playoffs, you bring him back, you extend him. Even if he has a phenomenal year, there is going to be that issue where if the Raiders do not win,
yes,
whether we like it or not, whether you think that he should stay here or not, it's always going to go back to the quarterback, right?
Change has to happen.
Now, he could still stay on the team. Like, that's totally fine because I'm actually open to the idea of keeping Carr on the roster, paying him $19.9 million, rolling him out there again in 2020, letting some rookie who we draft early on learn behind Derek Carr, and then, you kind of say, see you, Derek, it was nice having you. Basically exactly what the Chiefs did with Mahomes and, Alex Smith, because Derek Carr is a very respectable person. He's going to go into work every day and he's going to do his thing.
Sure.
But you also hit it on the head where it was like he kind of hurt himself if he is trying to make money. And at first, there's a part of it, it's like, I don't know if I actually believe him in saying that he only plays as a Raider. Do I think he would take a hometown discount? Yes, I do. If he doesn't, he's going to make over $30 million a year. The only reason why, I just don't know if he won't ever play for another team. I get the man has a lot of money, right?
Yes.
But I mean, even if he wouldn't be a Raider, there's going to be an NFL team out there. I'd be like, Derek, Phillip Rivers can get 1 year, $25 million. Somebody please tell me why Derek Carr can't get 1 year, $25 million. And hey, if he turns down $25 million, he's more of a man than I ever am. But it's just that part of me where I'm like, he's got 3 kids, and I'm not. It's just like if I were to think about it from a father standpoint. And I'd be like, if I could put $25 million, let's just say in their kids' bank account, take care of my family for generations on generations, I almost feel like you have to do it. And it might kill you in the inside, but as much as you love Raider Nation and I love Raider Nation, but if I could take care of my kids and it meant me going doing something else, I'm going to take care of my kids,
And at the end of the day, if it's a situation I know the Bears just got their quarterback of the future, but if there's a team that offers you a chance to win, you want to prove everybody wrong. At the end of the day, I mean, look, your brother had one of the worst offensive lines, and just his career just didn't. He couldn't.
He got the raw. He got.
You want to break that stigma. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, if he doesn't end up being our quarterback, which I hope he does, I hope that he wins this year, gets the attention, and we continue to grow. And we win a Super Bowl, man. But there's no way you're turning down another contract from a team, especially in a winning situation. There's no way.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I always think it's funny. People are like, Mitch, you hate Derek Carr. You hate Derek Carr. And I'm like, I don't know if y'all realize this. The only Raiders jersey I own is Derek Carr. So, I pull for that guy. I mean, he's a great human being. I've heard nothing but good things about him. But at the end of the day, your job, my job is to kind of dissect what we see and give our opinion. And, I don't make anybody watch. But if you guys like what you see, then, you can stick around. But Graphk.
I love the Raiders. I'll tell you that. I like DC, but I love the Raiders. That's all. I'll end it with that.
And I think I have actually probably learned that whole phrase from you more than anybody in the entire world, where you can like players, and that's why I don't die on the hill for players, but I will go to war for the shield. And I think that's absolutely at times what people need to realize. And not that you shouldn't take players' sides. You absolutely should take players' sides here and there. Yeah. However, if certain players are doing certain things or whatever that affects the team, that's where, at the end of the day, you're gonna rep your team. But I see a lot of people throwing down their Raiders all day, Raider Nation for life. That's what it's all about. Graphk, appreciate you joining me. Appreciate everyone that was watching. Tell people where they can find you in case they don't know who the hell you are.
Appreciate you for having me on, my brother, as always. We got to link up soon. Follow me on DOXENT on YouTube. YouTube ENT Raiders content, DOXENT, and follow me on IG right here, Graphk 916. Also Graphk Raider on Twitter, man. That's it.
Much love to you. If anybody hasn't already, seriously, go check them out on YouTube. Hit them up on IG. If anybody has ever heard the intro song to any show on the Raiders Report, It's So Nation. Please go check it out. I think it's I'm not even kidding. I think it's the best Raider song I've ever heard, and I mean that. And if you haven't heard some of his other music, like I have been vibing to Hunger Games. If y'all haven't heard Hunger Games, like, dude, that one gives me chills, and it's just like it's the whole thing. You put your family first, you do what you got to do, and I've been listening to that even 112. So that girl you got though in that music video, she's fine.
I'm gonna send you a bunch of new music.
All right, that girl though in that 112 music video, she fine.
Hey, babe, Mitch said you fine.
If anyone don't know, it's his wife, and we cool, so it's all good. But all right, brother, much love. We'll have to link up soon for sure, and if you ever need anything, just let me know.
All right, for sure, brother.
See you, brother. Bye.